Okay, folks, happy Saturday. All right, so Mr. Jalapeno Popper here. And it's funny because this won't say exactly what Chevy this is. A 63 Chevy. Doesn't tell you what model Chevy it is. Well, is that really a thing? Because if people always say, oh, it's a 57 Chevy. The 57 Chevy, I don't think was a model. It was just like a 1963. Helps if I... Looks like an Impala. No. Looks like this vehicle. Chevy 2. Nova SS Sports Coupe. Yeah, that's what this looks like. Okay. Kind of a pretty cool, unassuming car. I mean, what's the back of it look like? See, this was before I was doing this side of store stuff. Whenever I painted it, okay, it looks like it's got trim around it in the back. And the bumper. Well, let's do all that stuff because, well, yeah, let's do that. I mean, this one was done like 7 years ago, something like that. I wasn't doing that sort of thing. I don't know why. I just didn't realize I would have enjoyed it. That's probably why I wasn't doing it. It's not like I didn't know how to paint 7 or 8 years ago. I was doing freaking hair over on figures and stuff. I think I had seen, Gaslands, I think Gaslands had come out. And I'd been wanting to do a Car Wars type car game for, let's keep it on the back here, for a long time. Ever since my late teens and Dark Future came out, I wanted to play Dark Future, and didn't get a chance to. I may not have liked it. Okay, and then there's a little vertical line that comes around. It's on here. It's just extremely faint. Is there something through the middle? Yes. This doesn't have that line all the way across. I'm going to make the gas cap on this one metal so it pops. That handle. I mean, there's a lot of enjoyment these little guys will give you for a freaking $1. And I'm going to repaint the headlamps. And the blinkers here. And now I'm going to take some of the primer. And I'm going to prime this glue stuff underneath it so it doesn't stand out. Your eye isn't drawn to it. But that's working really well, is using the hot glue gun for the wheels, like really well. It's really forgiving. Didn't get any on us. Ha 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 ha. And then while that's drying, we're going to go back to work on the flamethrower. And particularly this barrel that's up here. Barrel of flammable liquid. I was going to call it what they called the Greek fire. I can't remember what it was called. Nef something. It's not important. It's not something I should know. It's not like I've uttered that many times. Let's get this goop out of here. I gotta leave relatively early. That's at least the plan today. So, I'm just doing some shopping. Daughter wants to go out and do shopping, like groceries and things like that. So, we're probably heading out close to about 9. It's still, that's a ways away. I got on here a little earlier than I normally do. On Poipus. I want to get this one finished and work on to the next, move on to the next one. And a little bit of, yeah, this right here. We'll leave the bands, I want the bands like on in a metal color. I don't know. It's just something to make it stand out. And I'm not going to make the outside of the vehicle charred. I'd like to think that I make these vehicles that they look before they go on to like their first race. Right, that's my excuse. It's not that I don't want to make it look charged. It's just like, you know, you pick out something like this because it looks bright and it looks different. Not to repaint it and make it all damaged. And I mean, it's going to have some more weathering on it than I did 8 years ago, but still. I like to recognize what the core vehicle is. I don't want to make everything look like a rust bucket and like almost the same color. But that's just my choice. Some people want to do that. That's fine. And it's not like it looks bad. I see some people that all their cars are like this color, but rust, like the whole thing's completely rusty. And that's fine to have a couple vehicles that way, but when everybody's the same color, it's kind of like, you know, not really calling to me. How's that saying go? You do you. All right, let's get some headlamps going. Runaway donut. Good morning, the Oof Man. You know, I'm almost to the point where I need to start building these cars in a different way.
Well, what do you mean by that, sir?
Well, what I'm saying is, I almost need to see what weapons I have and put on a car. It's either that or I need to order more weapons. I got lots of stuff that I have that I want to use, but it's like, you know, I build some car and I'm like, okay, this would be good with a turret. Well, I don't have that. You know, this would be good with this. And like, I don't have one of those things. You know. So, yeah. Well, at least we're getting through some flamethrowers. You know. I have a few cars with flamethrowers. I mean, you think of, a flamethrower. Oh, that would be great for this game. I don't know that they're very practical. I mean, when they go off, it's a problem for whoever's on the receiving end. I'll tell you that much. But there's a lot of ifs. You got to get close. It uses 2 build slots, so for just about every one of the small vehicles, a flamethrower is like the one weapon you can have, and that's it. And I think this weekend I'm going to reorganize these cars by teams. They're kind of organized the way they're built now. So like the new ones go, I don't know that I'm going to, I need to organize them by teams. And most of them will be, free agents, but I'm just I was thinking, what if I build a car and it's just like another car for the team? I don't think that's happened yet, but I'm trying to be careful about it too. You haven't bid onto this, have you? Yet. Notice. It's fine if you don't bite on it. I don't make any more money from it. It's not like I'm all about money anyways. I'm certainly not doing this for money. I do things I really don't like for money. I really don't like going to work. Oh, we do it for money? Yeah, I got to. Little headlamps. I bet there's nobody out there still doing DVA videos, is there? But there's things like that. There's things like, I've heard of, not necessarily in my case, but I've heard of people that are like, carrying all the weight of like some game group, and something happens to that person, they lose interest, and everybody else is like, should we go our separate ways then? It's like, just take up the torch, man. You're getting ready to walk in the rain again. Oh, you got to work on Saturday? No, you've not got any Gaslands yet. This World War II project has me focused, goal-driven type of project you need. No, that's good. I'm not going to knock somebody from doing World War II. I'm not going to knock anybody from doing anything. It's your therapy. You get to decide how to administer it. You get to decide your dosage. And I say that half in jest, but it's true. I'm glad you went with the Eastern Front. A lot of people are like, I don't know anything about the Eastern Front, so I'm not going to do it. I don't build Chinese armies. Why? I don't know anything about them. Well, there's your opportunity to learn about them. Nah, that wouldn't make too much sense. I never see any of the debris videos. In fact, outside of Flames and maybe Fire and Sword, I don't think anybody uploads any 15mm games these days. I would have never gotten in a DVA if it was 28. If there was only 28mm scale, there's a lot of gaming I would have never done. Well, when I started, they didn't have the look that I like. There's nice looking 28mm stuff now. It's like, it's too late. And now it's like, I have the thing that I never would have thought would have happened to me. It's like, I don't have space for that. Because I don't want to just have 10 things. I want to have, 400 things. Because it's perpetual therapy. It's either that or I got to sell them. I don't want to sell my stuff. I'm not in the hobby to make money. Good, because you wouldn't, I'm not interested in selling this stuff. I'm certainly not going to give it away. So, problem with giving it away is I always have this fear, like, what if you give it away to somebody and they tell everybody, yeah, I painted this. Like, ooh. Because I don't do shit like that. Like, if somebody gave me something, I'm like, yeah, I didn't paint this. And it's not because that sucks or anything. It's just like, be honorable. But there's a lot of dishonorable people on this planet. And probably others. If there's people on other planets, they're probably dishonorable as well. But I would do World War II in 15. I mean, I'm not going to star it. It's too late. I mean, if 20s didn't exist, I probably would have done World War II in 15s. Especially now, there's a lot of 15 millimeter stuff that looks pretty good. I mean, like figures. Like, the only 15 millimeter figures for World War II that I ever saw in the late 80s, early 90s was when Skytrex teamed up with Command Decision and made those packs. And their stuff looks like ass. I know we looked at the Skytrex website recently. It looked just fine. But the Skytrex that was available in like 89, 90, 91, 92, it looked like you took this vehicle and you smushed it. It was flatter. It looked really bad. It looked like, what was the name of that company that, what's that manufacturer for micro armor? It's from Britain. It reminded me of that. They might even not be around anymore. You got GHQ, and what's the British one? And I don't think it's Heroics and Ross, because Heroics and Ross figures, even though they're chunky, those were kind of like the good figures way back in the day in 6 millimeter. That's why you'd have to give them to Mitch. No, you don't get shit. Fucker don't even paint. They'd just get lost in his house. You'd never find them. All right, let's put the chrome on here. The way they used to make mold squish the green master so you had to compensate for the deformation. Interesting. Adler or Navor? Maybe Navor? Who used to make 6 millimeter tank miniatures in the late 1980s? It was a company from Britain. Scotia, maybe? Maybe it was Skytrex. Yeah, maybe it was. I had a couple of them. Like, I found some and they just look like smushed, Yeah, I had lots of CNCs. CNCs actually, were really nice, other than their barrels for their tanks were way too thin. Way too thin. They were probably realistic sized, or more realistic sized, but they just weren't robust. I had a lot of their ships in particular, because GHQ was just doing ships was what I was into. And GHQ had just started doing ships in the late 80s. And they only did like a few things for the Pacific. And CNC did all the, I like all the European ship stuff, between the Mediterranean and the North Atlantic. Like, that's where I want. I want ship stuff. I want to see battleships. Aircraft carriers keep, as a general rule, keep battleships from finding each other. Or like, oh, big guy over there, don't go over there, and they'll go somewhere else and fight it over the planes and drop stuff on them. It's just like, aircraft carriers suck. If you're, it's like playing chess, right? And you're like, you can't use all the play. You find they introduce some new piece, the aircraft carrier, right? And he renders like the queen like not usable. Like the queen can never go into combat again. Why am I referencing chess? Because I'd rather go to work than play chess. But anyways, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, I want all the food groups when I'm playing a naval battle, because that's what we used to do. Is like, battleships fire at cruisers, cruisers fire at destroyers, destroyers go after battleships. It's kind of like a rotation, with the torpedoes and stuff. So you had aircraft carriers in the mix, so we could just avoid the battle entirely. Well, that might be great practically, but in a war game, it's terrible. What did you do last weekend? Well, we said we were going to play with aircraft carriers, and we just avoided the battle entirely. So you didn't play, right? We didn't play. We just stayed home. Scotia Grendel are emailing out pics of their 6mm World War II a lot now. They didn't have pictures before? That could be. Scotia. It might have been Scotia. Is it Scotia or Scotia? Nova Scotia. Or it could be ethnic. Scotia. Nova Scotia. As opposed to the old Scotia. This is a cool little car. This is a cool little car. Like 63 Chevy. Yeah, a Chevy 2. And the only reason I got this was for the flames, and it was green, and I'm like, oh, jalapeno popper. I'm really the popping part if it was one of those Mexican cars that does the bouncing thing. But there is somebody who sells like those kits where you can buy them, you can put them underneath there, and it's got the tiny little like almost like training wheels. They're kind of like the opposite of this. Actually, they're exactly the opposite of this. Except they got tiny little like wheels, and they're like raised, and they do all this funky stuff. No, I don't think it was Magister Militum. Well, Magister Militum, or is what they used to be called, Chariot. I don't know that Magister Militum I know they took all the Chariot stuff, but I don't know if they like added other things to it and became. I'm sure they did. Quite probable. Said Scotia. The first thing I think of when I think of Scotia is Xyston. Because isn't Xyston like up in Scotland or something like that? I ordered from Xyston one time because you couldn't find stock of things. And I've painted very few Xyston figures. Not because they're not awesome, because they are. but just the timing of it all. I thought for sure when I stopped making DVA videos, it'd be like, oh, if that idiot Tony can do it, I can do it. Exactly. I'm not a video guy, you know? I'm a painting guy. Yeah, you got to do the stuff you enjoy. I enjoy painting. I do it for me. If other people see my stuff and like it, cool. If I motivate other people, cool. But videos, I don't enjoy making videos. I mean, when they're done, sure, but the process, nah. You know, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to videos. That's really probably the way to do it. I'd be a perfectionist about this. I wouldn't be about the videos. And you got to do things that you like in your hobby because you can appreciate them. Let's say if you do things for other people and like the amount of effort you put into it and people don't watch it and stuff. That's why I stopped doing the WordPress site. Like, I don't like writing all this shit down. I mean, I did it for like, in case something happened to my figures, but I did the WordPress stuff before really Facebook took off. And all of my figures are on Facebook, you know? So I do what I like for me, and if not, I feel like this needs a window trim in this color. In this chrome. Yeah, it does have that, but it has it. I'm not going to accentuate it because I should have put it underneath and I didn't. It was just it was just repainted. That's the story to this thing. Yeah, do stuff for yourself, and if other people like it, cool. But if not, don't hang your happiness on what other people think about what you do. Seistan is part of Scotia. Oh, it is? Okay. Also, their address is a castle. Does it look cool? A castle that was taken by the British. English, sorry. Same difference. Scotia, is it Grendel Castle? That's right, Scotia Grendel, right? Zeistan, Scotia Grendel. Okay, I think we're ready to weather this dude. So if police officers like donuts, what do mail carriers like to eat? Probably donuts. I didn't think, I forget donuts even exist. I don't know how there could be like a place that all they do is sell donuts. Like who the hell's buying that many donuts? I mean, I know Americans are fat, but that's the wrong food group to have in the morning. Something to just put you right back to bed. You go into a sugar coma. Nah, let's go ahead and weather. We can put the black lining in later. All right. Chocolate brown. Where are we? Where art thou? It's the pile up here on the right hand side is just The ginormous pileup. Well, I might be tempted to go and this guy, and I went last weekend. Here's the funny thing. I saw this post on the Gaslands group that this guy did about a couple months ago. That apparently there's this discount store that I'm not a fan of this store because it just seems like, they should have called it, depressing China is what they should have called this store. Because everything there is made in China. I'm sure there might be some things that don't, but it just looks like a dump for like Chinese wares. Called Five Below. And Five Below has these cars that are not by a major, they're like an off-brand type of car, this size. But they come with like these free accessories on them. Let me see if I can show you a picture of it. I took a screenshot of it. Well, here's the package they come in. Alloy Strike. And like these cars in this scale, and they've got like added parts you could take off and take on them. The bad thing is, as such, is they're blind packaging, so you don't know which ones you're going to get. Which, what if you want one of each? Fat chance. Guaranteed you're not going to get it that way. So that mentality doesn't really work for me. But I went last weekend and I couldn't find him in any store, and I didn't dare ask anybody because you can't ask people in stores about stuff like that. They don't know, don't care, both. And I think they might not have been available in this area. Well, now the guy actually gave me a link to a picture, so I might go in there and say, you have this? That kind of thing. See, but I looked all over for him and I couldn't find it. I might be tempted to get one or two just to see what parts come in it. Some people buy lottery tickets. I might buy a blind car. I don't know. But anyways, there was a link that somebody else went and found it, and put a link to the stores. I searched on their store inventory before, and you couldn't find that item. Now it's on their store, so maybe now the ones and even tells you like if they're in stock at some of the stores. So I may go pick up a couple. I don't know. I may not. What I should do is go in, know I'm going to buy one, open it in the store, I'm still going to buy it, see it, and see, it's part, and then just buy the one, or go like, this is pretty cool, and buy two more, or something, I don't know. But the cars themselves are nothing to get excited about. I feel like this part back here needs more. There we go. More chocolate. Need more chocolate on the bottom. Don't go there. There we go. These were painted 7 or 8 years ago. They were enhanced. It's not called painted. They still kept the original paint. They were enhanced 7 or 8 years ago before I did a single tank. So this doesn't have a brown wash on it. I hadn't done a single tank yet. It's going to be scary. Pretty soon I'm going to have more cars than I do tanks. That's a lot. Not a race or anything. That just tells you how much therapy I need. How much they have participated in. All right, let's put this thing away. That's not US field crab. To think that I could see it from here. So Ben, you found that source where I read that information about the most common truck then. I'm sure that's exactly where I saw it. And that's the problem with misinformation. Not only are you going to learn things that are incorrect, but you're going to pass that incorrect on to other people and make you either look stupid or make you look like you're making shit up and trying to send people down, the lemmings off a cliff. And honestly, between the two things, I'd rather be known as stupid. I don't want to be somebody like, a false prophet. I know it's kind of an extreme take on that, but, I don't like telling people, the wrong thing because I got wrong info. And that happens in work situations too. You don't want to be that guy that just makes up shit just to get people off the phone. Because I believe you're going to pay the piper. Going to have to do that. So. I guess I'd make a terrible salesman. All right. The one thing I did not do back then is to weather some of these edges and things. And now that I mention it, I may not have even done a clear coat on this. A flat coat. Well, we will at the end, so. You figured out a mix for your Panzer Gray? When I was doing modeling in the late 80s, when I was on the runway, in the late 80s, early 90s, Panzer Gray, you just took the Tamiya Panzer Gray and ran with it. Like, there you go. Or whatever it was called. I think the Tamiya one is called Panzer Gray. And just run with it. Not like all these little modifications and stuff to it. I think some people have just started adding things they like to it, and it looks better. They started adding a little bit of a blue hue to it, which I like it to have a little bit of a blue look to it. I didn't want to buy 50 million different products. Well, you got to put this, and you need to put a filter on this, and you got to put all that. Well, that's what the paint companies want you to do because they want to sell their products. That's just too damn complicated. I don't like a ton of steps. I don't like steps that you have to. Not only do you have to do, but you have to wait for things to dry in between. That's actually the worst part. Even worse than buying the products. Like, okay, you got to do this. All right, cool. Can I continue moving forward? No, you got to wait for this to dry. Come on, man. And, decades of painting 15 millimeter figures, I never had to wait for anything to dry, other than the primer and the clear coat. And in one stage, you haven't even started painting, and the other one, you're done. So, it doesn't matter that it takes a long time for the clear coat to dry. You're done with a figure. Yeah, I think this doesn't have a clear coat. It doesn't have a flat coat on it. Well, it's a bit late for that. Which means getting the rust to stick to it might be a little challenging. Yeah. We'll be all right. I need to go buy new drippings. The daughter will stay in the car. She doesn't want to get down to the game store. I don't blame her. Gamers are weird. Not everybody, but many are. Or unwashed, or both. The great unwashed. I mean, literally, the highlight of my day is coming home from work and showering. Why wouldn't you want to shower? I go to bed dirty, like, ooh. Ask somebody like that, man. Oh, here's Mid Brown. You go to bed dirty like that? It's like, man, you have to change your sheets every day. And probably the person says, you're supposed to change your sheets, you know. Keeps getting worse and worse. All right, this might be a little challenging because it's such a dark color. So let's bring out, strong tone also. You know, you can make this stuff too. I just look, I gotta sub something out. I gotta sub some of the manufacturing out. I still gotta paint the blinkers, I realize that. we'll go ahead and do a little, the blinkers. Add a little bit of a wash here where we glued this on, because there's always like, not always, but there's frequently a frosting of the extra super glue. And it doesn't look bad as much as it looks like out of place. Like, what's this doing here? Off to work. I will. Good luck with that. Don't get bit by a dog. Actually, probably just as likely to don't get bit by a crazy neighbor. I bet you'll be off Monday. The mail doesn't run on Monday. Thank goodness I'm not expecting anything in the mail. That happens frequently. I'm like, man, when's my package like delayed by a holiday? It's like, man, I think every month has at least one day that the mail doesn't run, except like March or something like that. I forget which one it was. I figured it out one day, and I'm like, well, no wonder. I thought it was just me. Like they found out I was going to order something, and it's like, oh well, we need to take a vacation or a day off for this. Like man, it's awful late, but no, the time hath changed, and it's lighter. There's more light now than before. Yeah, this is looking a lot better than how I had it before. It's just done in a more well. It's how I do things now. Not 7 years ago. I mean, this is before a single tank. Heck, most of my tanks don't have drippings on them. Shit, and I gotta go back and do my tanks. Well, maybe I'll enhance them just before I use them in a battle. Well, don't have to worry about doing them then. Probably what I should have done, and you need to remind me of this, Ben, if you're still listening, if you're interested in this. See, when does it happen? It happens again in June, but the daughter's here. So the daughter's here over the summer, so I don't want to do it while she's here. But in the fall, if the daughter needs to leave, I probably need to set up and do a learning game of how to play Shipwreck. So I got ships to play Shipwreck. I don't know, I may hate it. But who knows what happens by then. I might even get some pre-dreadnoughts and do some pre-dreadnought stuff. I have no idea. It's almost just easier, just do Sea Creek 4 again. Just play Sea Creek 4 Enhanced. Like, I know that backwards. I mean, I haven't played it in 20 years. Maybe even longer. And I felt like I knew it still like the back of my hand. It makes fucking sense. Yeah, and we played it a lot. Not by DBA numbers, but a lot. Like, I don't know, 150 times, 200 times. That's a lot. Not by DBA numbers. But by anything else measurable. Yeah, and the reason to play Shipwreck is for the narrative, and that it's quick play. Not that I love modern combat or anything. Modern naval combat. Of course, you could just say, the good thing about modern naval combat is you can say, hey, I want to collect the Iranian Navy. Done. But you haven't bought anything. Exactly. Might have to add some paint to this to get it to. That's primer. This is the black paint. What if I add black paint? There's a fuel cap here. digging this little car. Oh, let's carry that over. I'm gonna call this one done. Or done again. It's born again. Oh, and I still didn't do the blinkers. Oh. Okay. The jalapeno papa. Yeah, yeah. All right. I just don't know. I don't know what to do with this truck. I'd really like to do this one or this one. I just don't feel like I got the weapons for it. Well, this doesn't really need weapons. But this is a build issue more than anything else. Like, oh, this is. We'll get to it. What else we got out here? Got the science fan. We got this little buggy. Let's starve a village of water. See if it gives you any kind of talking points that might be useful. Come up with a name for this vehicle, which is a buggy, for the Dune Dudes team for Gaslands. It hardly makes any spelling errors or, sand scab. Well, sand crab would probably be okay, but I feel like sand crab should almost be like a vehicle that has tracks on it. It said sand scab. Desert tick. That's a good name. Why to pick Dust Bunny? I'm already going to have a Dust Bunny, and I came up with Dust Bunny, damn it. Dust Bunny's this guy right here. It's a rabbit truck. I just need a weapon back here for it. That's Dust Bunny. Sandy Roach. Yeah, we're not doing any roach names. That's gross. Desert tick. Desert tick would be okay. It doesn't have desert tires on it. I can make it super weathered. Custom Volkswagen Beetle. Desert tick. I like tick in the name. Tick prick. Okay, I can put this one on the same one. We're just going to tentatively call this one. So is this the one we're going to commit to doing next? I'd love to do this pickup truck. I don't have anything for the back bed. I don't. Buggy, 6 points, 2 build slots. I don't know that we're going to call it Desert Tick, but let's see when we can get on with this thing. It's got a little roof rack up here. Let's see what weapons we have that would fit on there nicely. It's not too high tech. I'm not really a big fan of the high tech weapons. They just look out of place. Obviously, it doesn't have a ram. It's got a roof rack on it. We could put an even bigger roof rack on it. It's like a grill. We're gonna put mesh on that joker, just to add something to it. Not opposed to putting a tire, but let's not use the one that has a whole set. Let's see what we got here. Like, this is a really cool weapon, but I almost have to like build that into something else. Like add that to. I'm putting that with it. I think that's going to end up being in that car. Yeah, this poor thing needs to have the interior paint. It's got a white interior. Like that isn't going to fly. Man, that actually fits on there nicely. Let me go to my spare tires. What kind of tires does it have? Slicks. Oh, is this the one off of the... Oh yeah, I have two of these, and one of these is the spare off of the comic book car, which I definitely don't have a use for. Put this over here. Oh, let's clip this thing off. Hey man, I just used trying to get Chat GPT to give me some ideas for the name of this thing. Sandtick, maybe. It's temporarily. And put this spare tire up here. Engine's in the back. Could be up here. I converted the jalapeno popper, which was one I did like 7 or 8 years ago. It was before I even did any tanks. I was probably painting Burgundians or something like that at the time. Let me show you what this thing looks like. Let's kill this. Man, you kill all the warmth. It's still too cold. It doesn't look like that. It's a buggy. It's a Volkswagen buggy. Yeah, this thing looks pretty good. It looks a lot better than before. I'm glad. Let's put it this way. I'm like, I don't know if I feel like doing it. And then I'm doing it. I'm like, yeah, I'm glad I did it. Like, that's how you know you did it right. Like, yeah, I'm glad I did that. Now, this might seem stupid, but I kind of like it over here on the side. Fifth wheel. Yeah, I haven't used this little heavy machine gun. I like that up here. And it sits on there really well. So, I don't mind making this a 13-point vehicle either. It doesn't have to be a big one. So we could do this, we get at a HMG. HMG is 3 points and uses a build slot. And then, I don't want to put a ram on it. A ram on a really lightweight vehicle isn't very useful anyways. We're sitting at 9. Let's look at the perks. I feel like it needs to have a perk. Yeah, I'm calling it the Dune Dudes team for now. I don't know what it's going to end up being, but that machine gun, the more I look at it, the better it looks on the roof of that thing. And it's already painted in this weird, like, junkyard dog looking scheme. Let's go to the rules here. Okay, here we are. Let's go to the one that has the little dune buggy on it. Hot start, no. Slipstream, no. Overload. This vehicle may roll one additional skid dice. If it does, it must change at least one gear or gain a hazard token. No, let's do downshift. At the end of a movement step, which this vehicle changed down one or more gears, this vehicle will make a forced move straight forward. I give a little bit of burst. Yeah, downshift. That's 3. So where are we at? We're at 9. We're at 12. Let's do a droppy thing. Caltrops or something like that. Caltrops is 1 and 1. That's 9. That'd be 13. Caltrop droppers. I wouldn't do oil slick because if it's sand flea, I'm sorry, already have a sand flea. Desert tick and sand flea. Are they both buggies? I think they are. That'd be handy. They could be buggy buddies. Yeah, you don't want to name it desert and then you drop oil. Like, well, the oil would just seep into the sand, So, caltrop dropper. 1 and 1, and we're done at 13. Yeah, it could be buddies with the. Let me go pull the other guy out. Where is he? Where is she at? This thing's oversized, so it looks a lot bigger than it is. And then technically, this is the same guys too. Yeah, it's looking pretty good, man. We're gonna have to come up with an official name for that team. I got a lot of. I do more buggies, but man, a lot of them have exposed crews. I just don't have the crews for it. Yeah, desert tick. I don't know if that name will stick, and we're gonna put this little. put it up here, but there's not enough space for the machine gun then. I mean, it could just be sitting up there like that. It's not like it has to be orderly and shit. I mean, there's a case to be made for that. Buggy buddies. Yep. Buggies are awesome. Buggies are, oh, we got Hippie Kaye too. Hippie Kaye is a Doom Dudes. Yeah. Yeah, when the core value is so low that but Hippie Kaye is a 27-point vehicle. So it's like a monster compared to the other ones. Okay, let's prime this shit. This is how I do it. Just kind of fumble around. What happens with this? All right, we'll do that one next. Here's the reality. The reality is I like them all. Every one of these vehicles I want to do. It's not like I don't want to do that one anymore. Like they all, almost every vehicle has merit. Almost every vehicle has merit. You'll look at them like that would work. That would work. That would work. That would. There's very few ones that won't work. Like that one Hot Wheels that's like a telephone. That won't work. Okay, there's no doing it. There's the one that's the Happy Cat. Also, that won't work. The one that's like an egg, like a broken egg. That doesn't go anywhere. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere for me. Maybe somebody go, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I said, well, I'm not on those kind of drugs. But 95 or even more % of the vehicles would work just fine for this. Certainly got to have another one of these. I mean, I haven't bought soda in months, but here it is. This doesn't need to be painted. It doesn't need to be primed or anything. This thing does. Buggy Buddies. I was trying to watch that damn show. I don't think you've seen it. I didn't even know about it until 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. That show called Twisted Metal. The special effects in the cars are pretty cool, but the storyline was written by... I know you're story driven. Don't watch it. It makes your head hurt how somebody could sell somebody on this show. I mean, the concept of the show isn't bad, but the writing is dog shit. Smeared dog shit. I used to pay no attention to cars, but now when one goes by, I start thinking, what weapons look good? You're welcome. It's super cool, man. And like I said, why I'm into cars. I think I've always been into cars. You just can't afford real cars now. I don't know that they were ever affordable, but so you get these. Yeah. I made you see the light in the cheapest hobby possible. It doesn't get cheaper than this. Maybe if you're painting, armies out of rice or something like that. Wasn't there's a guy, a couple of years ago, there was some guy that was building DBA armies with rice. He was painting rice or something like that. I'm like, but they all look the same. It's not like you can get, I guess you can get different grains of rice, but, they're not going to have any weapons. It's funny, one of my favorite things to do in this game is come up with names for the vehicles. And this may not end up being Desert Tick, but the build looks legit. And it would never occur to me to name an actual vehicle. Because I've heard of people yeah, I named my car or whatever. I'm like, you mean your real car? Yeah. I'm like, what would you name your car? I mean, it's not alive. It doesn't have a personality. That just never would have occurred to me. What's up, Marcus? Oh, you're getting Diablo 4 this month. You have. I have this monthly game bundle I pay for, and Diablo 4 is in the month. I don't know if I have something to run it right now, though. Go get an Xbox. Let's link up. I've played it a lot. I've played Diablo games a lot. It's a treasure hunt. You know? It's a treasure hunt. It's not perfect, but I feel like I was really well versed on the first Diablo. The first Diablo when it came out, I played it when it first came out, and it was revolutionary for when it came out for a couple of reasons. And it had some things that weren't great about it, but it was revolutionary because it was a treasure hunt, and all the dungeons were random, right? Like you had to have a start and maybe a boss at the end, but how you got there you didn't know. The new Diablo doesn't do that. The new Diablo does not have random shaped dungeons, and 3 didn't either, but 1 and 2 did. So that's one thing that people cry.
And Diablo 2 is the best one.
It had that. It had some good things about it, but Diablo 2 had a lot of annoying shit. Like you had to go buy arrows, right? So if you had a character that was like either threw spears or had arrows, you had to like have part of your inventory that was like all arrows, and you had to accommodate the shape of the things that you picked up. You had to stop and you had to move this out of the way. Like just busy work crap, right? Like Christine, I've never seen that. I grew up playing 1 and 2, so I like the style of gameplay. Well, then you like 3 and 4. And I'm not one of those people, you know. Video games, as a general rule, as they make progressions of them, they get better. Unlike movies, movies usually go downhill really quick. But video games, generally, the second of something is better than the first of one. Generally. But the gameplay, the character building in 3 and 4, 4 especially. 4 has one thing I really dislike about it. And it's when you open up your character sheet, good, well, you can talk about Diablo because, you'll understand these terms that I'm talking about. When you open up this character sheet and you look at a weapon, it'll tell you how much damage you do. And Diablo does a lot of things right. You pick something up and it'll give you clues in red or green to tell you whether it does more or less damage. Actually, Borderlands does an even better job. But anyhow, this new one, it tells you what the base damage is, and it doesn't really, after a while, it doesn't matter because you have that maxed out. But there's all these like exponential little things that it's not easy to tell when you pick something up if it's a better weapon for you or not. So you spend a lot of time trying to figure out like, it's almost like too deep in a way. It isn't gameplay wise. It's just like, Diablo 4 is the only one that I've actually like gone and like, all right, how do you make a good warlock, or how do you make a good sorcerer or a good paladin? Like I never would have used one of those guides before, and it's just kind of hard to pick something up and then know what the effects on it without doing a algebraic formula, which I'm not going to do, but it looks awesome, and I don't really have any gripes about it. I haven't really griped about it. The interaction with other people, it's there if you want it. It's not there if you don't want it. It's I don't like games you have to play with other people to complete them. I think it's just optional, Well, here's the thing. How much is missing? Well, the original game doesn't have it. I mean, you're missing a fair amount, but play the basic game. You have to. I mean, I played the basic game because there was no download content, and then you had to wait 6 months or a year for it, and then you played that. So you'll realize whether you like the game and want to even do the investment. I guess it's probably missing some of the characters, but it's not like the basic characters suck. I don't like the druid. The druid's probably been, and I haven't given him a fair chance. What do you mean him? You can make it a female. I'm not making a female druid. She's a bit too, I have nothing against playing female characters, but they need to be feminine. or I'm not gonna play them. Sorry, sorry, girls. Just like I don't want to play a feminine male character. You know, if you want to, that's fine, but you know, you got choices. That's not my choice. Like I'd never play a rogue, or you never played the third one. Man, I love the demon hunter, the demon hunter, and the demon hotter, and she was hot too. Um, the bow bitch, as we called her. A friend of mine that I played with used to call him the bow bitch, the rogue from the first Diablo, bow bitch. Diablo, the first Diablo, the worst thing that it had was that your weapons wouldn't change. The look of your character wouldn't look like the weapon, and Diablo fixed that. You know, you picked up a sword, and the sword might have some engraving on it. You pick it up, it looks just like everything else. You know, you hold it one-handed. It's a two-handed sword. You're still swinging. It's just, you know, lack of sprites and things like that. You know, but you know, it's a progression. You know, it's still, for all of its faults, was still awesome back in its day. I think the names that the monster leaders had in the first game is unsurpassed. You know, Sir Gorash and all the, I can't even think of them right now. You know, all the skeleton leaders, they were great names. Some of them make good names for cars. And 4 is terrible. Like the names are just combinations of, you know, things that don't go together, you know. I should definitely play. I mean, you'll know immediately. It looks fantabulous, you know. So anything that I'm saying like negative, like maybe I shouldn't try it, definitely try it. I'm definitely a fan. And it's the only game series that I've played every character all the way through, except the Druid. I've never finished anything with the Druid. Probably should go back and do that. But Diablo 1 played all 3 characters, maxed them all out at all the difficulty levels, beat it. Of course, you needed a partner with that. Like I remember this, one of us would he would play a warrior, and then I would drop like the sorcerer, and I would have what's the thing called? Is it familiar? The one that's the little head, the height of Hydra, and you'd spit out a bunch of fireballs. So you'd like put all these Hydra all the way in this field, and the warrior's in there. So the warrior would eventually, like anybody that came at the warrior, they'd have to get through this field of Hydra, and they just read along, and you just have to take baby steps because at the hardest difficulty, it was freaking hard. It's like one hit and you're done. So it was a nice challenge. So played all the characters all the way through, beat the game at all the difficulty levels. And then Titan Quest came out. Because it took forever for them to release Diablo 3. And Titan Quest came out between Diablo 1 and 2, and literally, talk about a game that's a ripoff of the other one. It did everything better than Diablo. Except for one thing. Because it was the one that was the Greek, and Middle Eastern, or really Persian, and Chinese legend stuff mixed in it. Like, it was a great theme. The thing it did poorly is you could make your own character class. So once you do that, there's no reason to, you know, it's like if you design your own DBA army. If you design your own DBA army however you want, that's the one you play. And you only play that one. But if it's like, well, let me play this one, it's got these deficiencies, or I have to play it a certain way, there's like an incentive to play the game in different ways. At least that works for me. You know, so it's like, I built one character. He was named Pyrrhus, obviously. Okay? And he was some kind of like mostly warrior type guy. I beat the game all the way through at all the difficulty levels, including the little special content at the end where you had to like fight these little lame monsters, but they're all named after like the designers. And one of them was like super slow. But if he laid a breath on you, you were dead, no matter how big you were. That it was like this little dungeon, almost like a dungeon room in the back at when you finished the game. But Titan Quest did Diablo 2 better than that. And the wife played 2, and my wife's not a gamer, but she played 2 and Titan Quest and 3, very little 4. We played a lot of 3. But they're great games. They're great games. You know, I'll try it sooner or later. I always wanted to. Especially if you enjoyed 1 and 2. If you enjoyed 1 and 2, you're the demographic that's going to enjoy it. You know? And I don't mind. I'm not a retro person. Like, I'd never go back and play 2 again. Never. I mean, I enjoyed it while I was around. It was like the best thing ever when it came out. You know, the speed that you move is just too slow. I'm not buying fucking arrows ever again. Ever, never, ever. That's just like busy work. It's more realistic. You're fighting monsters. It's not realistic at all. You know, you'd be able to carry like 2 weapons, have to go back to, you can't teleport in real life. I mean, it's not, so just cut the crap and enjoy the game kind of thing. But yeah, I've played them all. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Don't have a favorite character of all, but I've enjoyed them all, but I enjoy having to play in a different way. Some people don't, I only play Space Marines. You know? Okay. Well, you're missing out on different ways to play the game. Just saying. On a Gaslands, what's the arc lightning projector like? It's weird. I put it on Dog Farts Dropout. It's just it's really weird. You have a weird looking weapon that might work for it. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's get Dog Farts Dropout out here. Where is it? It's a support. Man, these cabinets smell like Chinese cancer. Whatever varnish or whatever they use. I'm not used to like paint having a smell. You know? What's Vallejo smell like? I mean, I guess it does have a smell if you're right up in it, but it's not a very dominant smell. Dog Farts Dropout. It's the Harry Potter mobile. Okay, it's got the arc lightning projector. It has double range, so it has the standard range. The most weapons have what they call double. It's a 6d6. It has 1 round. You get to fire it once. It's electrical. It uses 2 build slots, and it costs 6. So what's it do? It's a dangerous weapon that can arc electricity across multiple conductive targets. Remember, it's 6d6. So after damaging a target, so you target somebody, and you throw 6d6, okay? It's got to do damage to it. So after damaging a target, so if it does at least, that's the way I read it, if it does at least 1 point of damage, this vehicle must immediately attack another target within short range and 360-degree arc of fire of that current target, including this vehicle. Who wrote this? Phil Barker? Oh, I guess if you attack at somebody and they're really close, if this vehicle is within short, it'll attack itself back again. This chain reaction continues until the weapon fails to damage a target or there are no further viable targets. This vehicle can target friendly vehicles with its arc lightning projector. This vehicle cannot target the same vehicle twice in a single lightning attack with its arc lightning projector. I don't know that it means that it only has 1 shot. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. But it says ammo 1. Like you get this, it just seems awfully expensive to use 1 time. But if you're attacking a target like this is front mounted, so it's got to be to the front. And you attack this guy and you put at least 1 hit on him. If these 2 are within short range, you immediately roll 6d6 versus this. And so on. But it doesn't go back to this one. If you had another vehicle if you had another vehicle here, it could just keep zipping around. If you had this situation where you attacked this vehicle and did damage, it would attack this one, and if it did damage, you get attacked. But it doesn't, like, you attack here and you do a point of damage, so it can arc to here, and if you do at least a point of damage, it arcs back to here. It doesn't. Like, once it gets touched once by the lightning, that's it. So, it could be interesting. It could be good for hilarity. That's why this is a game about laughing. That's the way I look at it. It's a game about a fun narrative that's joking, laughing, and ridiculous things happen. You know? And that's the way I look at it. I'm like, I got to do one of these things, so, you know. But that's Dog Fart's Dropout with the arc lightning projector. It's the only vehicle I have with the arc lightning projector. The teleporter is also really interesting. The transformer really is what it is. That's the one on my Trans IM, and that one you can start and disappear here and appear somewhere else. I don't know that they're tactics to win a race, but again, it gives you a way of thinking outside the box and playing a little bit differently, you know. But that's a viable weapon, you know. Might be turreted mounted. Did I turret mount it? I don't know. It costs $6, so that's $18 to turret mount that thing for one shot. I'm pretty sure it's not turreted mounted. So, yeah, it's the only vehicle I have with it. Because these guys are on the Nerds and the British team. Ford Anglia. But it's an odd weapon that's not going to get. I'm not going to have too many builds on it. I definitely need something that's really unusual looking. It needs to be an unusual looking weapon. I hope that answers your question, but. And then these guys, these two, we're going to paint this like the Dukes of Hazzard car, except it's going to have, it's not going to have the Confederate flag. It's going to have the what do you call it flag? The Redneck's flag, which is the backwards colors on it. These guys are going to be they're going to be like nemesises of each other, but also both on the Redneck team. So, I'm not doing the, why don't you use a real Confederate flag? Aren't you offended? I'm not offended by it, but I don't want to get the bots all riled up. And I'm just as happy coming up with an alternative redneck thing that doesn't involve slavery, right? Like, my rednecks never owned any slaves. See, that's my cop-out. It's not about slavery and pushing that thing. It's just, that's what they would, anybody who is like a redneck, they're proud of their Southernism. And Southernism involves putting one of those flags out. I'm sure some rednecks are racist, but some of them are just like, get the fuck off my property. Who gives a shit if I wear shoes? That kind of stuff. It's all right. I get it, You got to make the bots chill out, Anybody who watches any of my shows and knows that I have, I don't know, controversial, we have extreme groups of people in here, I don't promote any of that shit. It's there for flavor. And besides, if you don't have rednecks on a team, you can't make fun of rednecks. And rednecks wouldn't mind. They'd be like, yeah, let's get them good city folks, I guarantee if I had some super hillbilly people, they'd want to play the rednecks team with all of their nuances and all the jokery that goes along with it. Right? Embrace it, It's just a game, folks. All right, we got some rusty colored things here that I think are going to need to be primed. But I've never used it. Yeah, I never use that arc lightning, so it might actually be hopefully provide some funniness. That's really the whole purpose. And you play one of these races, it shouldn't matter whether you win or not. It's just that you have a good time. It's not personal. I don't keep track of wins and losses. It's not like I'm going to paint my cars and nobody gets to use my cars. I'm like, I don't know what car I would use. And it doesn't matter, you know? C'est irrelevant. I haven't even built one of the French cars yet. There's so much I've done so much and there's so much to do still. Yeah, so we're gonna go shopping early for the weekly grocery type thing, and then the daughter wants to get back because she wants to watch some Formula One qualifying or something like that. The race is tomorrow. Now we just all of a sudden started watching that. I'm like, okay, that works. Not exactly Gaslands, but we used to do that way back in the day in the early '90s. We'd go watch the Formula One race. Wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, watch the Formula One race on TV, and then in our Formula One game, race that race. That way you're like participating in what you watched, kind of. You'd have to design the cars and do qualifying laps, keep track of your times, make modifications. Was it better? Did it do worse? Oh, it did? Okay, modify it a little bit more, a little bit less ground force, maybe a little bit more. It's a fun thing to do. Did you get did those come in the mail yet? The ones that you ordered? Here's the other good thing about this. Doesn't matter what condition they come in. Like, this is all beat to hell. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'd rather them not be beat to hell and damage it myself or make it look damaged. That's my preference. But if it's damaged, roll with it. I used to do that with football games as a kid. I don't like watching football, but I like football games. Like Madden and things like that. Can't find people to play them. Or if they're like, you think, oh, well, football fans would really like to play that. Football fans don't like to play those games. Or they're like, all they do is throw Hail Marys. I'm like, dude, I thought you're the one that likes freaking watching football. You think you would have a better clue. No. I don't like sports because you're not participating. Like, you're just like watching. Like, if you watch it or don't watch it, the results are the same. It's not a decision to make. Tuesday they'll be here, even with a holiday. You didn't get bent by the holiday. You don't really use Facebook. I mean, you use Facebook for the intercommunication, but I don't think you get on Facebook very often. There's a guy that posted on the Facebook site today, and there's about 2 months ago, somebody commented about these, and of these particular cars that were proprietary to Five and Below, which is a store I don't normally go to. And what's unique about them is they come with extra stuff like armor and stuff like that. And I went last weekend to try to find one. Here's the problem: they're blind boxes. So it's not that any of them are bad, but if you buy 3, you don't want duplicates. So I went to our it's not a store I normally go to. I go in there, and it's a store actually that makes me sad. I don't like stores where it's just like crap. Just crap to see if they manufacture stuff just in case somebody might be foolish enough to buy it. I don't like that. It just seems like you're just wasting the world's resources for Anyhow, it just seems stupid to me. So, but I went in there looking for them and I didn't find them. Well, this particular person that just posted that he found some in one of his stores, I don't know where he is in the United States, he posted a link to the Five and Below site where you could search by store and they actually tell you that they have some in stock. So I may come home with a couple. But I really want it for the spare parts. I don't necessarily want it for the cars aren't bad, but I don't need any more cars. Okay? But the spare parts are like kind of cool, you know? Yeah, every time you order something, there's always some holiday that delays shipment. And you wonder, why does that happen? Well, I think like every month has one except like March. There's like one. I went through and I'm like, oh, January. Okay, January has President's Day. Okay, February you got Martin Luther King, right? Or did I get those backwards? Anyways, it has one of those. March, I don't think March has anything. April has something other than Easter. Easter doesn't really interfere with anything because it's on a Sunday. But like, every month has something that delays the mail. They get that many freaking days off or whatever. It must be a miserable place to work if they got to give you that many days off. Man, the government gets a lot of days off. It must be terrible to work there. Wait a second, I don't like where I work and I don't get any days off. Anyhow, other than Monday. Monday's, I think, one of like 4 days we get off. So we will have it. We will have a show on Monday for sure. And hopefully not with this car. Hopefully this little guy's done. I'm going to paint the frame around this a different color. So let's go ahead and prime this. Like 8 things coming next week. I need to order some Gaslands weapons still. Miniature coral reefs. Government employees have some of the work. See, that would be terrible, And it's just, don't they hire people like not on their skill? I mean, it depends on the job, but not on their skill level. Like, we need to hire somebody. Well, who is it going to be? Well, they have to be, let's look at the chart. They have to be Asian and over 400 pounds. Not because they only hire 400-pound people, but it's like they need a fat one, right? They got to balance everything out, right? And a quota. It's like, oh man, you look like a great candidate. Okay, but you got green hair. We already have a green hair. We already have a green-haired person. You need to not have green hair. Sorry, we can't hire you. I think that if you have a government job, though, like you can't. If your government job is like your first job, I think you can only work for the government then. Like you're broken. Like if I had a government job, it wouldn't work out because I wouldn't be able to stand it, or I'd outwork everybody, make everybody look bad. I don't know. I want to be busy or not be at work, I had a friend of mine who was an engineer, civil engineer, and he worked for the state of Florida. He worked for DOT. And he first worked in private work. And he used to come over. He was one of the guys who used to come over and paint on Wednesdays. Not every Wednesday, but every third one for sure. And he was a painter. He actually painted. Nice guy. Doesn't live in town anymore. But he did for several years. He was into ships and stuff. His name, we'll call him Scott, because that's his name. And Scott went from private engineering to DOT. And he said that he had an excruciatingly long amount of time to do his job. Instead of like, you had to get it done in a month, you'd have like, 7 years or some shit. I just don't know if I could handle all the senseless meetings. Because meetings are just like a way to like not get work done. I don't know. I mean, if it's a productive meeting, but how many meetings have you been in that have actually been productive? They can't fire you. It's really stupid. I know, but don't you agree? Like if you come from the they can't fire you mentality, like there's no incentive to like hustle. I mean, they're given you don't get a bonus or anything. Like you get whatever they decide to give you. Or if like let's say you need more money, there's nobody to talk to, right? Your supervisor basically has no power. Like one of the things and I do like what I do for a living. I just don't like the conditions I have to do it under. Like you're constantly rushed and have to put other people's fires out constantly. Okay? But I do like, and it's empowering. There's a lot of decisions I can make, you know, and it's not like it's a power trip. It's just like, you just cut through the bureaucracy. Like I've been there a while, decades. Like, you know what you can do, know what you can't do. You know what you need to go to people above your pay grade for, and you know what you can handle, And you can make things happen. So it's really empowering that way. I just can't imagine like I can't make that decision. I don't know I can do that. I can't do like why am I even here, Like I can negotiate things. I can do things like if somebody says if they want a certain item, like well that's not the item that I, well it's not priced in to go to this place. It's going somewhere else. Instead of like well okay well how about we deliver it, like somebody made a mistake instead of it going 20 miles away. It needs to go 150. I'm like all right we won't charge you more money, but let's do it when we have something in the area, because it was something relatively small. You don't have to go through a bunch of bureaucracy, and it helps the customer out. You feel good because you're empowered. It's the right thing to do. Like you can't do that when we work for the government. It says it. We have to drop it off. We have to drop it off at this direction, and it's on a cliff. So this is where it gets dropped. But that doesn't make any sense. But that's what the paper says. I can't have a job like that. I'd go crazy. It just doesn't make any sense. We'll be back in a bit. Yeah, I motivated Marcus to go get a government job. That's why he's got to leave. He's got to go fill out an application. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to work at a place like that. I certainly would want a place that's less stressful. But just to be a cog. Nah, I'm too sharp just to be a cog. There's a guy, I don't know if you were on here last night, Hoffman, or not, but I was talking about there's a guy that I have a sneaky suspicion that is one of these guys that he works where I work. He's a cog. And he makes so many mistakes. And they're the same mistakes he continues to make. And they don't get rid of him. And I have the sneaky suspicion that he plays dumb. He plays dumb so nothing is expected of him. So that he does the minimum amount of work just to get through the day, and they don't get rid of him. And I'm like, I just don't understand going through life that way. It's like, your life is a waste, Hey, what's up, Lee? I love that. Your tagline on your handle is probably the longest tagline of anybody that comes on this channel. And your name is 3 letters. Good morning, Britain. Actually, good afternoon. But I have the sneaky suspicion that that's what this guy is. Because the level of dunderheadedness that this person does on a daily basis is just unfathomable. I know people like that, and they're really good at playing that game. It's just too difficult to fake stuff. I don't want to fake who I am, Who do you learn that from? Probably your parents. I don't know. I don't know, some people just don't have any pride. Like, I don't mind people say, man, that guy's a dickhead at work. An asshole. I'm not a dickhead. An asshole. Yeah, I'm an asshole because you don't do your fucking job and I gotta fucking do it for you. And I'm bitter about it. You know, but not like, oh, you're lazy, don't do anything. Like, I don't want to be known as that. Like, that's like, what's that word? What's that word I don't know how to pronounce? Anathema? Yeah, I can't do that. You get to pick what you don't. You get to pick what you don't want to be known for at work. Like, I don't want to be known for like telling people lies or saying the sky is something it isn't. Four people like that, man. I need better coworkers, and you need better friends. Yeah, I just can't. I can't imagine that, man. Like, just you don't have to be perfect. Just have some pride in what you do. That's it. That's it. Have some pride in what you do. You're gonna paint things. Try to paint things as best you can. That's it. You don't have to be better than the next guy. Just, it feels good to kick ass. You don't need to be a martyr, but it's good to kick ass. Now, it sucks when you kick ass and you're not rewarded for it, or you're not, or oh, and this has never happened to me before, or somebody takes credit for what you do. That would probably be a nightmare in a government setting. Can you imagine we're having a government job and you're like, you come from the private industry and you're like a go-getter, right? And you're out working everybody, and then your supervisor takes credit for the shit you do, and they don't do anything, and you don't get a raise or anything because your supervisor isn't even in charge of how much money you make. Like, I just can't imagine it. I just can't imagine it. Our politics, the place I work has gotten definitely, it didn't used to be bureaucratic at all. And now there's bureaucracy in because there's other things at play that weren't before. And I hate it. Absolutely. I mean, we've got a job to do. You need to be efficient doing it. And because there's, you got to, it's like when I get bills sent to me at work, for stuff that I'm in charge of. I turn them around the same day. You can't let that stuff pile up. Because if you can't get through 4 bills on one day, what makes you think you're going to be able to get through 8 the next day? I'm using a really low number, being 4. But say 12. You can't get through 12. Man, I don't have time to approve these 12 bills. Well, you're going to have 24 tomorrow. How are you going to get through that? Well, I got a busy day too. How are you going to get through 36? I mean, it just, you got to knock things out of the park, or you're going to get swarmed. Okay, that's the frame, but what the heck is this in the middle? Let's just paint it black. Because this kid are going to be... We can paint the ribs if we need to. I don't know, I guess I shouldn't get a government job, huh? I could just see all kinds of scenarios I've never experienced before. I had that happen to me while working at Dollar General. But that was a long time ago, and I don't even think about those people. Yeah, the problem I'm having is I've been there so long that we have a fair amount of new people in roles that there weren't new people in 5 years ago. And it's like, there's a lot of stuff that I know, but I can't do everything. I can't be everywhere at once. Like I say, I can walk on water, but I can only be in one place at one time. And it just becomes really difficult when you're just like counted on for a lot. But it is what it is. It's not like I have to do another 32 years. All right, I think we need to if we're going to put mesh on this guy, and I think we are, to keep it to look a little different from the actual car. I'm not going to repaint the little white stuff on here. on the ends. Just when that'll just weather itself away. Let's get some grading here. And just imagine you worked at Dollar General. Man, we need to straighten up the shelves. Well, let me straighten up in the wrong way, so that in like later on today or tomorrow, things will still be messy, and I have to straighten them out. I'm like, there's real work to be done. Like, that's actually one of the things working retail I didn't mind, restocking shelves and straightening stuff out. I didn't mind it at all. It was like, I mean, obviously you don't want to do it every second, but it feels good to have things orderly. I know some people that wouldn't be good at that. I just leave it at that. I don't think it'd be. No, I don't think you would like a government job unless you're on a very small team of decent people. Yeah, I don't get to pick the team, do I? You know? It's whoever you're handed. And if you have a team of 4 people, and just one of them is a bad apple, it'll ruin the other 3. It's not like, oh, well, the 3 good apples will make the one bad. No, that one guy will bring everybody down. Everybody will complain about stuff. You know, I think we're going to do, let's not do the angled one. Let's do the straight one. Let's do the NASCAR one. That's what I call it. I call it the NASCAR. You know, because NASCAR has like that mesh that's by the driver, I think. You know, so the guy doesn't get spit out the window. And it's vertical. It's not, at 45 degrees. So we'll do the NASCAR one. I get frustrated when I'm in some kind of a work environment and like things are taking longer than they should. Because like I said, you have to knock it out of the park or you're going to get swarmed. So let's use this. That doesn't work really well, but it works enough. What time you painting till today? When working, I really like being around self-motivated people. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find things, I mean, really, it's like, regardless of how much you're being paid, it feels good to do a good job, right? It does. What time am I painting till today? Let's say half hour more. That's probably fair. I think so. Man, the air got really still. I was talking about work and I'm already warm. This little bastard's going to be cute. And cute is important to me. See, as soon as you start priming things and removing these zillions of different colors, and we're going to make this one fairly dirty, okay? Because it's going to have some kind of a dusty color or something like that, you know? That's dusty name. Let's use a piece of stickum. This probably should have been doing this all along, just to kind of get this centered. We'll take it off, obviously. Obviously. Not necessary. Just well, let's not get so excited about putting a big old chunk there. I think I don't say that word very often. I think that's the word that the wife gets on to me for. It's chuck. I said, well, in this area, everybody said, I'm going to chunk that. Now, I would, if I was writing it in an email, I wouldn't write it that way. But I only sound ignorant. Okay, I think, man, it's hard to follow these lines sometimes. But let's do it at angles and then worry about curves later. There. There. And there. Let's see how we did. Let's go ahead and remove this. Oh, you stripped it with grease lightning? I've heard people that use that. Is that the green one, or is that the purple one? I'm talking about grease lightning. I think that's the purple one, isn't it? I'm trying to think what the green one is. You had the green one at work. I haven't had much luck with those things. But yeah, if you have it, use what you have. Don't go out and buy a new product. It's stupid, you know? Got a Hummer building a drag racer looking car that's purple. Yeah, I couldn't see, so I squinted and looked at your second response first. Mine Baden. Oh, that's great. But I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to cut out a little slot through the mesh for the driver look-see. So I think I'm going to cut, just to be different. I've never done it before. Let's remove this one, and that one. Yeah, I got to order weapons too, but I haven't. And like I said earlier, you went on here, but I'm like, I almost need to design my cars based on what weapons I have left. Or, pick the cars I'm going to work on based on the weapons I have left. But I went to the one particular vendor and I clicked on everything that was a possibility and looked at the totals, $122. Well, I'm not going to order $122 worth of stuff. I'm not going. Even if I had the money, I'm not going to do it. Just on principle, like you need to leave something for another day. Probably should have left that one there. Let's remove this one. Probably should have left that one there. Okay, that's ready to prime. I'm not going to add mesh in the little quarter panel back here. I'm just going to do it on the door, and I won't do anything back here. This is a very small area, so certainly one of these little guys should be able to do the trick, and we want to go vertical. But I don't have any of these vehicles I'm looking for. The only vehicles that I'm looking for that I don't have, and I haven't found it at a reasonable price, is that Skyline that they make. It's like either white or it's like an off-white color, and it has like a red Godzilla on it. But they want like $25 on it. Even like, okay, I don't need it that badly. So you can do a Godzilla theme build. Or, something is Godzilla, like something lizard something or another. It doesn't have to be. There doesn't need to be a Godzilla in this world that I'm creating. But it's something like that, Kaiju Killer or something. It floored me. I never thought of the Philippines as Asian. I was like, what did you think of them as? I just didn't give it much thought. I mean, it's like a Pacific island. I guess technically it'd be both. We're not doing a Pacific Islander team. Sorry. I want a Hakalugi, what are you going to call it, That's the green one. I read it didn't work, but that's all I had, so I gave it a try. It's the green one. Goose Lightning? Okay. There's another one. Yeah, well, I'm glad it worked for you. Yeah, I've seen that Skyline of Godzilla. It's cool, but I like the cars I don't have any emotional attachment to. Yeah, I see that. I can see that with, I can see that. You're in a committed relationship with the kaiju. At least it's well endowed. You haven't seen the new the newer Clash of the Titans. Go watch a video of the Kraken. The Kraken is like fantabulously large. Fantabulously large. It would be like if he attacked Florida, you could see him across the state. I mean, that's a fucking big thing. That thing is like a mile tall or something like that. Sure seems like it. It's like massive. Thing looks badass. What's up, Justin? I know it's nice weather. There is a hot box here. Makes you wonder why anybody would want to live in Florida. It's amazing what people will put up with for low taxes. That's fucking perfect. This is probably the most perfect cutout I've done. Okay, let's make a twinsy out of it. But we're going to cut it backwards so that we have the smooth side out. It's not that noticeable, but okay. So it's going to be flat on the bottom. So we want to keep that same length there. All right, see how we did. Well, certainly quick. Hey, I'm getting better at what I'm doing. Perfect. All right, let's get helping hands and prime this guy. I think Volkswagen Beetles, as a general rule, will make a really good vehicle for this game. I should have left that vertical in. Fuck. It's all right. We can put another one in there if we need to. I was worried about it falling apart. I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to rain for 2 days, a high of 56, low 52. Ice cream weather. That's what I want, that kind of dreary ice cream. Let's see if I can make some magic happen. What if I use this thing and put one over here and put the other one here? No. And I want to break these things. No. It'll be all right. This stuff dries really fast too. And you know, the only reason I use primer is you can get in every damn nook and cranny. You don't have that problem where the paint, the bubble pops, and where it pops, there's no paint there. Like it's not repelled by the material as much as anything else. Yeah, but I scoured Five and Below last Saturday, and couldn't find it. But now, if I don't find it, I'm just gonna go, hey, see this package? Where do you guys have these? I'm gonna change my mind. I'm not much of a blind purchaser. I don't really like that alloy strike. Styles may vary. No, styles will vary. Alloy strike. cars. Yeah, here's an example of some of them. I mean, the cars are fine, just the extra bits that are on there. Like this yellow one, look at the ram on that thing. That's a handy ram to have. That work on a lot of vehicles. That's like a Benz gull wing. A Beetle. I don't know what the hell that is. It looks British. So does that one. That yellow thing on the top of the roof, not very useful. But this other like exhaust type thing, that's pretty useful. I mean, if I see some, I may pick up some. We can do a random unboxing. Well, see, here's the thing. Let's say I've got 4 of them and they were the same one. I gotta find them first. We'll see. I can see one car people keep posting from Hot Wheels that I really like. I guess it's one of the newest cars. What's it look like? Is it the Corvair? I bet it's the Corvair. The Corvair looks really good. Its original paint scheme is a yellow that's like not very good. The yellow is like this. Like it's good for this chicken truck, but the whole car is like this with like black accents. I've picked it up twice. I don't have that one. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not, I would have, the Corvair looks pretty good. One of the guys was like saying, "Oh, here's the car everybody has," and it's like a '57 Chevy. I don't have a single one. I just picked this one up the other day. This is the closest. So 57 Chevy. I don't know if this is a 57 Chevy. It almost looks like a cross between a 57 Chevy and a not a Carmen Ghia. But what was the Volkswagen that they did after the? Is it the Type 4? Yeah, it looks like a cross between a 57 and a Type 4. Yeah, I think you know what I'm talking about. I think there's a number on it and it was yellow. There's a number on fucking all of them. It's the Corvair. The Corvair looks very good. Yeah. It's like asking for... Honestly, this is what I should do next. The next new car, we're going to do... It says custom auto. This is going to be evil auto. Except it's not going to be evil looking. It's a beautiful car. It's Charger-ish. It's Charger Pontiac GTO-like. Yeah, it's like if a Pontiac GTO and a Charger had a baby, this is what it would look like. Good thing I don't know about cars. Yeah, it's got the back of a... How does this cost $1? How can they make this? How can they make this? If you use slaves, free materials, you still have to ship it over here. I don't understand it. Manufactured, imported, or distributed by Mattel Europa BV Gondel 1 8886 MJ Amstelveen, Nederland. Made in Malaysia. Not for use with some Hot Wheels sets. Consumer information. It's a beautiful car. I like muscle cars the best. Muscle cars make the best builds. The best builds. They look the part. I mean, they can take a hit. You know? Let's see. I bet it's the Corvair. My money's on the Corvair. That's the Corvair. That's great. It's a great car. Great car. Looks the part. It's got lots of engine and stuff. It's a good looking car. I don't have one. I should build one. Fucking hundreds. Most cars look great. Most cars would be great for this. Most of them. This, I just don't know what to do with this. I totally approve of the color I painted it. I don't know what the build is yet for it. I wish more trucks had dual wheels, because trucks generally have dual wheels. Just saying, you know. I see a few trucks on a daily basis. And this thing, the color is right on this. I just don't know what to arm this thing with. But anyways, I was talking about that show, Twisted Metal. The show's ridiculous, but there's definitely some inspiring ideas for stuff. There was a tow truck called Junkyard Dog that was in the last episode that I watched. The story is written by a moron or a team of morons, but there's a lot of the special effects are good, and the ideas, the designs for the cars are actually pretty decent looking. One of the cars is called a Junkyard Dog. I think that might actually be a good name for this guy, because it definitely has like repair stuff on here. And it could be a redneck. It could be a redneck vehicle. This thing could be. But the color's right that I airbrushed, and same thing with this one. Especially this one. This one, the rust, gonna look stellar on there. Bear Strike, yep, Corvair. Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, it's new. It's new. It's definitely a 2026 model. I don't know if it's been released before. You can go on the Hot Wheels thing and find out, but I had never seen it before. But there's so many cars that are so good. Really, I mean, just about anything. You know, I don't mind if they're, like, this thing's cartooned. And this thing will be a great car. So. Looks like a pimp clown, honestly. So maybe we'll work that into... He's on the clown team, but he's also on the urban team. That might be the angle to go with that one. And I feel like it needs to have gold rims, too. Or bronze rims. Bronzo the clown. No, I think that would actually work. Take all the silver stuff and make it look bronze, so it kind of goes with the color. I think that's the way to go forward with this one. He's a clown rapper. Man, I had enough of these fucking little kids. '49 Merc, exaggerated. '49 Merc is a cool car. Cool car. You don't want to be in an accident, one, try to have to bail out the seat. Out of the window. I'd get stuck. Saw some dinosaur-themed cars that were interesting looking. The problem with those dinosaur-themed cars is as follows. They don't have a discernible place. They don't have a discernible driving position. And like, you can't have a car that just, you can't tell where the driver is going to be. It looks weird to me. But yeah, even those would work. Even that hot sauce one that's floating around, that would work. But the Lucky Cat, the telephone, exaggerated like scooters or something like that are too big. That a few things don't work, but I'm telling you, like, one thing out of 50 doesn't work. Yeah, Veristrike's cool. I've seen a lot, I just haven't picked it up. But it's a new one. It must be a 2026 C case or something, I'm guessing. Maybe even later than that. But I've gone to Walmart a couple times. They don't have any new stock. They don't have any new ones, so. Hot Wheels 2026 Ver strike. And I don't mind that somebody's trying to sell it for $4 on eBay. The problem is that you got to pay shipping on top of that because there's a finder's fee, right? Like you can't sell things for the price it goes on the store. Why would somebody buy it from you? But there's like a finder's fee. Hot Wheels 2026. No. Verstrike. What's it called? Which case is it in? F case. Okay, so we're all already at F. Okay. And I've seen all the F case stuff, I'm pretty sure. Except, whatever is like the super treasure hunts. I don't care about that. They're usually in a paint scheme that's like I would want to repaint anyway, so. Oh, that one's cool. You painted that? That looks good. That's a really good body style, too. That's a really good body style for a lot of things. I like that 50 cal up there. Yeah. And British Racing Green, no doubt. Okay, let's do this. Let's see if this works. Hot Wheels 20. Oh yeah, no, that's what I should do. Case G. What's the next case coming out? Case. The last couple times I've picked up things. I went to the store. I picked up things and I put them back. Super Treasure Hunt. I don't care about Super Treasure Hunt. Contents checklist. Okay, orange track diecast. Okay. This little guy. This would make a good vehicle too. I don't know if you've seen that one. And it's an exaggerate. I'm telling you, that would make a good vehicle. Probably had to repaint it. It's a little too dark. Vehicles that dark are difficult for them to take rust and stuff. Okay, Hot Wheels case G with pictures. Okay, these are worthless, or I haven't found a use for these. Close that. These exaggerated vertically, they just look awkward. It's just too exaggerated vertically. Have I seen any of these? Yeah, I've seen some of these. Tuned Purple Passion. I've never seen a tuned Purple Passion. What's this thing look like? Okay, that is a cool car. That would totally work. And I would leave those wheels in the white. That is a cool car. I wouldn't repaint that. I think that was freaking great. Haven't seen it. Ford Lightning Super Truck. I've never seen that. There's 23 different listings. There's 23 different cars. Oh, here they are listed on it. All right, we're gonna save this page. Okay, that is the G case. What about the H case? This is a great hobby. La Libre, I've seen that one. There's a pink roller toaster. No, I already have one. Oh, a purple passion is actually purple passioned. Actually purple colored. That's cool. That's cool. I already have a Raijin Express. I should build that sooner rather than later. That's the cat truck. Datsun pickup truck. Oh, this is this one is from that case, so it's already released also. Boy, they're really getting ready ahead of themselves this year. Oh, this is this is a treasure hunt, unfortunately, because this is perfect. I'd have to repaint it, but total disposal. I'm not a big fan of these Hot Wheels wheels. The one that's on the front. I don't know if that's coming out okay. It's kind of dark, but it's basically almost has like a wheel cover. It has like one little notch in it, like where you'd put like the air. I'm not a fan of that. There's Porsche 920. Man, I remember when the Porsche 928s came out in real life. That was a hot car. This is a great vehicle. Comet Cyclone. This is like one I would pick up a couple of them. This would be great for the Mexicans, and I'm talking about the undercarriage because it's got like those little mini wheels. See what I'm saying? Like they're smaller than normal. That would be a great vehicle. Maybe it's got scrambles. I have the Chevelle. Maybe they re-released it. I have that Chevelle. It's almost like a transparent green. The dyno cars I saw were already converted to Gaslands. Let me see where I can find them. I did not paint that. I found it while looking for these dyno cars. Oh, well, it even looks British. It might not be a British vehicle in and of itself. That was case H. All right, well, let's go to Q because we know that Q isn't out. Oh, and they don't tell you what it is yet. Hold on one second. Okay, that's a 15-minute counter. Okay. No, they only have one thing listed for Q. So what about P? Nothing out for P. Boy, they really let you guessing. What about N? Nothing for N. What about M? Okay, M is listed, but they don't give you pictures. How about L? Some pictures. Oh, they got a Datsun Sunny Coupe. We already have my Sunny. Oh, that's cute as hell. I don't know if I'd be able to resist that. That is super cute. Got good graphics and stuff on it. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right. I think we're primed away, or if there's a little bit of black missing, that's fine to touch up one thing, but just to touch up everything, that's a bit much. Yeah, it looks fine. Okay, let's get Glulandia out here. I want to get that Ferrari carrier. But I don't want to, I don't want it bad enough to like spend a lot of money. I want to find it. How about that? Ferrari, Hot Wheels, car carrier. This would be great for an objective vehicle for the Italians. Well, that the Italians have that other people need to go after. See, does this zoom in closer? Yeah, this. It almost looks like a fire truck. The Italians should have dibs on red. It's like, hey, are you tired of a red cars? Yes, sir. Okay, we'll let the other people have a red car then. Okay, man. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, I'm just going to glue this stuff and I'm out too. I appreciate you guys stopping by this morning. I'll just put some little rivets of glue. All right, let's put that inside here. Normally I would like smear a big bead around, but then you're more likely to get it on your finger that way than this. We're going to be careful with this. Oh, that doesn't need to be super strong. It just needs to be, not fall off. There we go. And then this one is the one over on this side. God, this little bastard's so cute. So cute. And that works with kind of the theme that I'm going with. Not that everything's cute, but there can be cute things. It's not like everything needs to be Mad Max. Not everything needs to be like Rust Hell. The oxidized apocalypse. Let me make sure I don't want this here. Oh. I don't think that's ever happened before. It's a nice casting of a machine gun. I like it on the roof. The fumbling commences. Push this all the way to one side. And then this will be, we'll have it leaning here. And on there as well. And maybe I'll put a tie down on it or not. That's not a huge priority for me. You know, we're not making a damn diorama. Okay. Now I just got to paint those individual pieces and go from there. All right, folks, thanks for stopping by this morning. See you guys on